Hello, and welcome to another episode of Legendary Moments, conversations worth sitting down for. Today, across from me, I have a young man that's literally architecting a path straight into the sky. A young man by the name of Myles White. What's going on? How you doing?
All is well, AP. All is well. Can't complain. Blessed to be here and ready to engage in some meaningful conversation.
You and me both. Now, when it comes to you, Myles, I've had the privilege of watching you evolve from a third-class petty officer on board the Baton, where I passed first cross, to a licensed pilot, a student at Tuskegee University, an officer, cadet, literally just trailblazing. In this small amount of time, I've seen you accomplish a lot, but I think your legendary moment is still becoming, quite frankly, right? And the first thing I want to ask, piloting, that's something that is very unique to me. You know, I see your videos and everything. When did you start taking that personal? Like, it wasn't just something you dreamed about.
So the first time the time where I started taking it personally, aviation, was definitely deployment 2023, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So aviation was always in the back of my mind. I thought it was far-fetched to actually be in command of an aircraft and actually to fly the aircraft, aviate, things of that nature, until I came across a gentleman, Captain United States Marine Corps. His name is Captain Jamil Butler. Okay. And he pretty much reinforced all of my thoughts and let me know, hey, this is possible. You can do it at a militant level, at a civilian level, general aviation, and so on and so forth, but it is possible.
Just being out there and just seeing someone else doing it kind of move you, inspired you, kind of planted the seed for you.
100%. So during the deployment, 2023, 2024 deployment, on the flight deck, on the aviator side, specifically the pilots, the naval aviators, the Marine Corps aviators, still naval aviators, it wasn't a lot of people that looked like me, right? It wasn't a lot of minorities, in command of the aircraft taking off from the flight deck, right? Whether that be fixed wing, rotary wing, right? Things of that nature. It was specifically when I met Captain Butler, and that's when I knew. Every time I saw him, I would pick his brain on something. And then eventually I adapted him as a mentor, and then we went from there. Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's where it started. Now, let's go back and kind of visit your childhood, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where it all started with you.
Yes, sir.
Where you from? South Carolina, right?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
What was it like growing up in South Carolina, Columbia?
Columbia, South Carolina. So Columbia is the capital. So this was a city portion of South Carolina. I grew up about 20 minutes away from the University of South Carolina. So I grew up going to the games. I didn't grow up in the roughest neighborhood, right? It definitely wasn't the suburbs. We wasn't rich. It was definitely middle class, right? And just doing everything that I could. Single parent household, right? Okay. But I never really allowed that. I never used it as a crutch or as an excuse, right? It's an unfortunate circumstance, but it definitely helped nurture me into the man I am today.
Okay. Single parent, so just your mom.
Just my mom, correct.
Yes, brothers, sisters?
Also had my brother, one of my older brothers.
Okay, how much older?
So Jay, he's what, 30 now, so he's probably about 6 years on me. He got about 6 years on me.
Okay.
Yes,
so you was the youngest?
I was the youngest. I'm the youngest of the bunch.
Okay,
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
What was it like being the youngest? Did you get your way all the time? Was you spoiled or what?
So let my older brothers and sister tell it, hey, I got away with murder. I got away with murder. I don't think that's the case. I think both my mom and my father, they did an excellent job of holding me accountable. Okay. But if you talk to any of my older siblings in comparison to, some of the punishments that I received and in comparison to the punishment that they received, the cohesion is not there. Okay. So they had their personal gripes, but we all laugh about it now.
Okay. So you said your sister is younger than you?
My older sister. I got an older sister.
Okay, so an older sister and an older brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, like that's the home of the Army, right? That's where they boot camp at and
yes,
everything.
Sir. Fort Jackson.
So seeing that, being so close to that, what made you pick the Navy then?
So initially, most of my friends are in the military. They're in the Army. So I'm like, everybody's going to the Army, and I just didn't see the light or the vision that they saw with the Army.
Okay.
And then I started conducting thorough research, and then I came across a naval recruiter, and he mentioned to me, hey, the Navy, we do the most traveling. And I do think that is a fact. With my experience, we do the most traveling. What he failed to mention was, about 70 to 75% of the Earth is ocean. So, so a lot of that traveling, you may not go anywhere, but you're going somewhere. So definitely forgot. He definitely left that fact out, but it's all good. It all worked out. Been to about 10 to 12 different countries and counting. So about 4 to 5 different continents. So I can't complain about it at all.
Okay. So you the only person in your family in the military?
So my father was in the military. He was in the Army.
Oh,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Pops was in the Army.
So is that how y'all ended up in South Carolina?
Actually, correct. That is how I ended up in South
So where's
Carolina.
Pops from originally?
Pops is from Covington, Virginia, originally. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Covington, Virginia. Ironically, right? Because I'm here in Virginia.
And your mom, she's from Carolina?
She's from Columbia, South Carolina.
So that's where your dad met your mom at and
yes,
everything
sir.
like that?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. That's exactly how it transpired. Then I came about.
So what your dad feel about you not joining the Army and doing the Navy?
Right. So he had a little bit of a gripe about it. Like, you sure you don't want to do the Army and things of that nature? But once I came to him, and then, because initially I actually signed the paperwork to enlist at 17. So when you enlist at 17, right, you need both parents' signatures. So I technically on paper enlisted September of 2019. I was 17 at the time, so I had to go get his permission. He had to sign documentation, and so he initially had his gripes, but I came to him with facts and well thought out research, in-depth research, and then he gave in. He's like, all right, I see you on your path. I'm not gonna get in the way of it.
So at 17, you still had one more year in high school?
Still had one more year in high school, so the paperwork was set, and then I was in the delayed entry program for about 9 to 10 months, and then as soon as I turned 18, about 25 days later, I was in Great Lakes, Illinois.
So pretty much the whole high school year, you was in depths, and then about a month after you graduated high school, you was gone.
Yes, sir. That's exactly how it happened.
Okay, so you said research a couple of times already, right?
Yes, sir.
So what made you at 17 years old say, hey, I want to go to the Navy?
So what made the military in general always had my interest. I always admired the lifestyle, a disciplined lifestyle, but you can also travel simultaneously. So you can still, in a way, have your way with life, still be well-rounded, right? And still serve at the same time simultaneously, right? So I would say college, I had my own gripes and my own opinions about, the collegiate education at the collegiate level, right? And to be frank, my mindset at the time was like, college is a scam, which is ironic because here I am.
in college right now.
I'm in college right now. But so my gripe was prerequisites. And then at the time, that's when inflation really started for degrees, right? So a lot of people that I knew that were going to college, to include, siblings, after their bachelor's, they almost had to immediately go get their master's because most of these career fields, they want people with experience.
Yeah,
and
the bachelor's wasn't good enough.
Exactly.
Right,
if you don't have that experience, okay, well, you need to come with a master's or a PhD. So, and that kind of offset me. That kind of put that alongside a lot of prerequisites at the collegiate level, kind of put a bad taste in my mouth initially. So I figured the military, I was going to take that route. I felt as if it was a better route for me and what I was trying to accomplish.
Okay, and so being that your brother and everything is 6 years older than you, did your brother go to college, and that's what you get that?
Absolutely. So he matriculated at the University of South Carolina. He got his undergrad, his bachelor's, and then he went back to get his master's, master's of communication, and now he's living his life in Atlanta. He works with several different corporations in Atlanta with marketing, advertising, communications, things of that nature.
Okay, so it worked out for him. He just had
Absolutely.
to do a lot of schooling, but it worked out for him.
Absolutely.
And so you were saying to yourself that, you know what, I ain't gonna even go that route. It's a scam. I ain't with that.
Exactly.
I'm gonna just go to the military.
Exactly, and I would like to expand on, if I may. College is definitely necessary, right? It is definitely necessary, right? Depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? Especially if you're trying to take the lawyer route, if you're trying to become a doctor or a dentist of any type, right? Then it's definitely necessary. But at the same time, if you take an entrepreneurship route, there's other ways to get around college, right? But I would always, although I do still currently to this day feel as if it's a scam, I do encourage it, right? For not only the experience, but also the other level of higher education.
Got you.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
that makes sense. You know, I agree with some of that. You know what I'm saying
Yes,
as
sir.
well. So growing up, single family, you decide to join the Navy. Did you go to the recruiting station yourself?
So my recruiter came to my high school, and the way that he was able to articulate the things that he did during his time in the Navy and things of that nature, I just naturally gravitated towards it. I'm like, this is the lifestyle that I want to live, all while serving and doing everything else that needs to be done.
Got you.
Yes, sir.
And did you come in undesignated or AO off the gate?
AO out the gate. Yes, sir.
Okay.
AO out the gate.
So how he sell you on that?
So my recruiter was actually a AO.
Okay.
And he would basically, I would always ask him, I always had a million questions about the Navy alongside asking him and conducting my own in-depth research. I asked him, I'm like, so what was your experience on this? What was your experience on that? Okay, I see AOs can go on amphibious assault ships. We can go on aircraft carriers. We can also be in a squadron. There's so many different platforms. So give me your experience. And he was a growler guy, right? So the EA-18 Gulf. So he told me, he was telling me and showing me pictures on all the detachments that he went on. He told me he's still deployed on a carrier, right? And then the different land detachments, sea detachments, and the things that he was able to accomplish and going from there.
Okay, so he got you straight out the gate. He pulled you right in.
He did. He
said,
He
what
brought
y'all
me-
be saying? What y'all be saying? Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. He definitely brought me into the fold.
So he brought you in here saying
Into
that.
the IOU's fold.
Yeah,
Definitely. The IOU's
exactly.
fold.
So he probably called the group, said, I got one. I got one.
Definitely have.
Company there. This is a sportsman right here, right? So
Yes,
what was
sir.
that transition like coming into the military?
It was a little bit, not too much of a culture shock, but a little bit of a culture shock because although I did the research, you can do all the research that you want.
Yeah.
It's until you actually go through it and just be submerged, right? You forge a sailor, right? So that's why when I was being forged into a sailor, right, I think I did about 8 weeks at Great Lakes. And from there, it was because it was also during COVID. It was also during COVID.
Oh, you went to boot camp during COVID?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh.
I went to boot camp July 7th of 2020. That was prime COVID. COVID came about March of 2020.
Yeah,
And
that's the date I remember. I remember for some reason in my head, like March 15th, it seemed like that's when everything just changed.
the whole world changed. The whole world changed. So I was there in July, and then we had this thing called the Ring of Fire or the Circle of Fire. So if one of your rack mates had it, everybody was going to quarantine. So luckily, I made it through without having to go to quarantine. But it was definitely an interesting time trying to get trained and go through that. It was just a large culture shock, but we made it though.
Okay, so culture shocks.
Right.
Speak to that. You know?
So when I'm speaking to the culture shock, right? Waking up and everybody screaming at me. I'm like, why is everybody yelling in the morning, right? I know everybody knows the infamous saying, lights, lights, lights. And then, you're getting up out the rack, you're making the rack, you're getting on that tow line. And then, of course, the task that the RDCs are given, it's almost an impossible task, right? Especially with a division of about, 80 recruits and things of that nature. And then, but so much space, the tasks are always impossible. But later I came to understand there's a reason for everything. Yes, sir.
Okay. So growing up, before you decided to go into the Navy, what did you see yourself becoming as an adult?
So I took a class in high school at Spring Valley High School, and it was an auto mechanics class. And then that's learning the intricacies of vehicles and engines. It was captivating to me. So that's what I saw myself doing before the Navy came along, before the recruiter snatched me up. It was an automotive class. I loved everything that we did. We would take apart engines and then we would put them back together. I loved everything about it.
Okay. So you was finna get into the auto mechanics. Recruiter came to the school.
Right.
Got you, start talking weapon stuff.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And pull you in. Now you at boot camp, wondering why is this dude yelling at me at, old morning 30.
Exactly.
Talking about get on the tow line and all that type of stuff like
Sir. Yes, sir.
that. Okay.
100%. 100%. But I could also relate with some of the things that he expressed to me. It was a lot of working with your hands. So I'm like, okay, there's a translation between whether I'm working with my hands, assembling ordnance, doing maintenance on the aircraft, as opposed to doing maintenance on the vehicle. It's still mechanical skills that are being utilized.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So was he telling the truth by the time you got to the ship and started doing your job? Was that a factual statement?
He did give me multiple factual statements. I think he left a few things out deliberately, but I can truly say he never lied to me. He did not lie to me. He kept it honest from the jump.
Yeah, I say the same thing.
Absolutely.
Like my recruiter, he didn't lie. Like, you know,
Absolutely.
you hear a lot of the stories, and some people I know they still feel a way about it to this day. But for me, it's just like I'm when I retired, I invited my recruiter to my to my retirement.
Yes, sir.
You know, he still speaks to my mom.
Yes, sir.
And everything. When I'm in Alabama, you know, Montgomery, I text him, let him know we try to, you know, link up and all that, because he
Yes,
came
sir.
back home. But yeah, he didn't tell no lies, so I got no issues with that.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you get to Baton. Life is different, right?
Yes, sir.
How so?
So life is different now because we in the fleet.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody really here to hold your hand no more, right? We gonna train you up, but now your career is truly in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
You are in the fleet now. We're not in Pensacola. We're not no type of course, there's training environments in the fleet, of course. But now I felt as if my career was truly in my hands. Mm-hmm. So if I don't wake up on time, right, there's nobody gonna be knocking at my door. Or there might be somebody that come knock at my door, but they're gonna have the counseling shit in hand, right? Mm-hmm. And everything's gonna be documented. So it was a different level of accountability once we got to the fleet. Mm-hmm. No.
So when I came across your path, you was very, very much what we call squared away.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Everything on point, mannerism, even watching from a distance, it's just like, hey, this is the model, you know, third class and everything like that. Where did that come from? Was you always like that? Growing up and everything, being that your father was an Army?
I would say, where did that come from? I would definitely say mentors in the Navy, right? Mm-hmm. So definitely I had, as an airman, as a third class, second class, and even as a first class, right? Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? Mm-hmm. So people that I wanted to emulate were squared away. Mm-hmm. So I followed suit. And I saw the places that they were going within their career. I heard how people spoke about them when they weren't in the room. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that is something that I want to emulate. So as an airman, I never tried to per se compete with my peers, right? For evals and things of that nature. I was always competing 1 or 2 pay grades above. Mm-hmm. So if I was an airman, I'm competing with third and second classes in my mind, right? As a third class, I'm trying to compete with my second classes. I'm trying to pick their brain on every single thing that they know. Mm-hmm. As a second class, I'm learning. I'm trying to take my first class out of a job. Now, when I say that, I'm not undermining my first class. But the things that he or she was doing, I'm like, hey, AO1, don't worry about that. I got that. I get that squared away. Because these are reps. These are mental reps, mental and physical, and even professional reps. So when I take on that position, it's a seamless transition. It's not too much of a culture shock. So, yes, sir.
But where did that mindset come from?
The mindset coming from was the mindset. So I would say definitely my mentors, they instilled that upon me, right? So they would give guidance, right? And this is what you want to do. If you really say you want to get to this level, this is what you should do. You should utilize this path, these resources. And I just took heed to it. That's all there was to it. I just knew I didn't treat this like a job. Mm-hmm. You know, I treat this as if it's my career, because that's what it is, and that's what it's to be treated as such, right? When you're a professional, and that's just my personal opinion, right? Mm-hmm. Not everybody has to adapt that mindset, but I knew I wanted to go far with this. I saw that there was really no glass ceiling, right? Mm-hmm. It's not as if I'm working some type of dead-end job. Like, there's multiple different avenues where I could go with this organization, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where it came from.
How far did your dad go with it?
My pops, so I believe he went to E7. He went to E7, and then he retired from the Army.
So he did his whole 20, or did he go over 20?
He did his 20
and
He did his
retired.
20. Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So, growing up, was you close with your father? Did you spend a lot of time with him?
So we spent summers together,
Okay.
right? So I would say we were fairly close right there, and there is a gap that still needs to be closed between him and I, and then we're making the effort to close that gap.
Okay. So did he relocate to Virginia or did he stay in South Carolina?
He actually relocated to Maryland. He relocated
Maryland.
to Maryland, Fort Meade, Maryland. Yes, sir.
Oh, so that's where he retired out of Maryland?
Yes, sir.
And he just stayed up there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so in the summers and things like that, was he, firm, hard?
So he pretty much he definitely laid the law down. Definitely 100% laid the law down, right?
Okay.
So you need to be up by a certain time. You need to be active. You need to be making your bed, right? He had me involved in summer camps and things of that nature. I was always outside playing. I wasn't just in the house watching TV all day on the couch. He wasn't a component of that at all. So that definitely attests to how active I am in the community now, because he definitely laid that foundation. Him and my mom alongside my mom laid that foundation at a young age.
Was he still active doing these visits and stuff like that, like active in the military before he retired?
So he was actually, once he retired, he started working for the police department. And so he was still definitely active in the community, on the law enforcement side of everything now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And mentally is similar to being in the military.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, and the reason why I ask and bring that up is because, again, I get it. Mentors do what mentors do.
Right.
But you still got to be receiving of it.
Absolutely.
And, my next question, okay, we talked about dad, so mom, but she pretty strict or
100%.
Okay.
100%. And I think she was more strict because her and pops, they went their own way. So just being raised by her primarily, she definitely, like I said, my older siblings, they still think I got away with murder, but she definitely held me accountable.
Okay.
Definitely. Whether if it was instantaneous or whether it was delayed, definitely got held accountable for my actions.
Okay. So because raising two men,
It's rough.
single mom, yeah,
It's rough, and I can honestly say, my mom, I love my mom to the earth and back, right? But I definitely I want to say around 14, 15, 16, I was a little rebellious. I started poking my chest out. And I remember my pops told me one time, you can't have your hand out and your chest out. You got to pick one. I hope you make the right decision.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, what was one of those times where they had to kind of remind you who in charge?
Absolutely. So, school, playing around and not taking school serious, right? Or just getting in physical altercations at the school, and this was more so of a middle school, high school thing.
I can't even see that.
Right, they rectified it quickly.
The person I know, I can't even see that. I'm sorry.
You're good, because they definitely, and it's just a test to how I was raised. They rectified that quickly, right? Because although I did engage in a little bit of mischief, right, during my high school years and things of that nature, but no degeneracy was allowed, right? Because it was so many things. Right. No degeneracy was allowed. That was not a thing in that household, right? No matter how much I may have tried to, tether the line, negative. Not going for it. So I'll be honest with you. I'll be frank. My mom, she didn't spare the ride, right? You train up, even in the Bible, it says you train up a child how the child should be raised, and then even if they depart the path, they'll come back.
Spare the rod, spare the child.
Exactly.
I think that's how.
It's something along those lines.
Yeah.
But she did not spare the ride. When it was time, if I did something and it was at that level, I was getting beat. And then that's how I learned. Once I got tired of getting beat, I'm like, I started thinking about it. I'm like, what did this lead to last time? And once they successfully got into my head, which I'm grateful that they did, that's when a lot of behavioral changes came about.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this rebellious thing, 2 years, you said 14.
I would say about from 14 to 16.
Okay.
14 to 16. And then once I started signing paperwork for the Navy, I'm like, all right, the games are over. Because I'm not going to jeopardize my career before it even starts. So I think once I actually started signing documentation for the Navy, entered that delayed entry program, not only a level of maturity, but a level of clarity, right? I'm not doing this. I'm not acting out for anybody. My life is in my hands now. It's getting to that point. There is no more calling mama and daddy for this and that. Like, no, it's time to, you want to behave like a man. You want to be a man. You got to start behaving like a man.
So during that rebellious time frame, was it, like you said, was you actually trying to get attention, or felt you wasn't getting attention, or just trying to be in with the cool kids?
It was definitely it was a mixture of both.
Okay.
Sought after the wrong type of attention, and then just trying to fit in with the crowd, right? And if you talked to me a couple years ago, I would never actually openly admit that I was trying to fit into the crowd, right? It's like I do. I was just trying to be. But that's during that time frame. That's exactly what I was trying to do. I was just trying to be like everybody else.
Because, and again, it's so surprising that you went through that, because when I crossed your path, you was very much like, this is the path that a lot of young sailors go, and you was definitely on another path.
I appreciate it.
The path that's least traveled, as they say.
Yes, sir.
It was just like, you can spot them out.
Yes, sir.
You definitely can. So to hear, kind of got yours over with before you joined. I'm sure it's refreshing.
Absolutely. 100%.
Like, I don't even gotta do all that, So that's very, very interesting. So coming into the military, first command, again, I get it. You got your mentors and everything like that, but mentors can't be with you everywhere. 100%. They ain't with you all the time. They got work to do. They get called away to do certain things and stuff like that. How difficult was it for you to not do the things that you saw other young sailors doing? Just, again, kind of, you said it before that you knew when you signed the paperwork, I'm done. But saying it is one thing, but when you there in the midst of it and almost 90% is doing this, what made you say, oh, nah, I'm good?
Being cognizant and being aware. Right. So when often taking the path less traveled, you have to be the odd one out, right? And you have to be okay with that. I've been, not too many times, but there has been occasions where people refer to me as Joe Navy. And right, nobody wants to be that guy, but sometimes you have to be that guy, right? Because it's along the lines of professionalism. And ultimately, we're here to get things done. We're here to serve, right? And we are being compensated for what we do. And there's multiple benefits to come to what we do, right? And in our professions and our rates, some things that we do are inherently dangerous, whether we in a magazine, right, assembling ordnance, or whether we on a flight deck loading ordnance, whether we launching and recovering aircraft, or whether we go to the surface side, you in the engine room, right, you're doing a light off assessment and things of that nature. The things that we do are inherently dangerous, right? So we need to be, I believe, in technical proficiency. Is what I'm doing now going to lead me to being a subject matter expert? And then I'll have to ask myself that question. Is this going to make me better? And in any type of long-term professional development, is this going to make me better? Yes or no? And then I ask myself that question. I'm like, well, the answer is no. I get that's the popular thing to do, whatever that thing may be, but negative. If it's not productive, if it's counterproductive, had to let it ride.
And I guess what I keep going back to is your dad. And I'm just, how much did your dad have a role in how serious, once you decided to take the military, to take it, being that he did 20 years and then he jumped? Okay, I was going to say he jumped right into the police force, but how long, to your recollection, did it take for him to become a police officer?
So he jumped right into it. To my knowledge, for my recollection, he jumped right into it. He didn't waste no time. So he hopped on that second career instantaneously. All right, because my pops, he was out from a youngin' to, he was always in pretty decent shape. So I don't think it was too much of a difficult transition for him, because he was a police officer well into his almost late 40s.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so he's not a cop no more.
He retired.
Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
Double retired.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Amen. But did he give you some kind of advice once he realized that you was going in to make you better?
Absolutely. So just always take it seriously, right? And then he often referred to this phrase, right? In the military, they'll often, although it's very structured, they'll often give you just enough rope, just enough rope for you to get in trouble. Make sure that you use that rope wisely and you don't use the rope that's extended to you to hem you up in any form or fashion. So when I got to the fleet, there was a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
All right. There was no more MTIs, military training instructors, and things of that nature.
Right.
You were on your own in a sense, right? Not completely, but you were on your own in a sense. So, and then I would refer back to what he said. This is enough rope, right? You know, you got muster 07, right? Or Liberty expiration 07 on board the ship, muster at 0730. Right, we don't need to be out until 2:00 in the morning. All right, you know, drinking and things of that nature. If you're gonna be up until 2:00 in the morning, why you not? Just like you can be drinking and spending money and doing all the extracalities, you can be studying your rate. All right, and so I always take those type of things into accountability. Now, that's not to say that I didn't engage on both sides of it. Right, I'm not perfect. I'm far from it.
Right.
All right, but I did try my best to be more on the productive side than the counterproductive side. Yes, sir.
Was a part of you coming from a place that you didn't want to upset him, or not necessarily upset him, but let him down?
Absolutely. Didn't want to let him down, and then my career is my oyster. I didn't want to drop the oyster, right?
And explain it. Go a little deeper into that.
So with my oyster, right? I'll explain it this way, right? So I had a senior chief actually tell me, you got rubber balls and then you got glass balls. Your career is that glass ball. Once you drop it, it's shattered. You got certain rubber balls and other things, right? Even outside of the career, but also in life, you got a rubber ball. If you drop it, you can pick it back up, and then you can redirect course and then go from there. But you got that glass ball, which is my career overall itself. Can't drop that ball. You got to do everything that you can, right? Take the initiative, right, in certain situations to protect that at all costs.
Yeah, I heard that analogy before too. Absolutely. So that's easy to adapt when you at work.
Right.
But again, like you said, you got a lot of free time.
Absolutely.
Did those times get lonely because you are so focused on your career and what it is that you're doing at such a young, I'm not gonna say age, but you is a young age. How old are you?
I'm 23.
23. Again.
Yes, sir.
23. We're in 26. So you came in 17 years old. So you on the ship 18, 19 years old. Ain't old enough to drink. And you trying to stay focused.
Right.
Did you know when you came in the military that I'm going to do 20 like my dad?
So I always told myself, initially, I was thinking, we're going to do this 20. We're going to knock it out. And then we're going to go from there. Now.
Knock it out.
Now that I'm a little bit more seasoned and I know what's going on, right? And I've experienced a few things, then did a deployment, did multiple underways, right? Let's take it one re-enlistment at a time. And then I found a commissioning program and I was pursuing commission.
Gotcha. Outside of work, be by yourself, people trying to pull you all different kind of ways. Hey, we doing this, we doing that. Your mind state pretty much was, again, the same philosophy. Like, is this going to be productive or not?
Right.
Yes or no?
So to answer that question, right? Because I don't want people to think like I was straight work. Because people that know me, right, know about business, right?
Yeah.
But work hard, play hard.
Okay.
So I definitely had my fun, but it's within moderation, right? And my mom always taught me that.
Okay.
If you doing anything, just make sure it's within moderation.
Okay.
And that's with school, or that's with drinking, or working out, life, etc. Right? Always do things within moderation, right?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How important is your mom and what you do, how you carry yourself? We talked about your dad and everything, but what about your mom?
My mother, she's paramount. She is paramount, imperative, a straight up pillar in my life. All right. So when I'm high, when I get a little high and mighty, she's like, hey, let's bring it down. You still human. When I get a little bit too far to the left, she'll align me. God right. Move back to the right. So she was definitely she's just the MVP. She's the all around MVP in my life, right? And that she holds me accountable, all right? She praises when I need praise, and then she's there to pick me up when I'm down. So I'm more than grateful for my mother. Absolute pillar in my life.
If you don't mind sharing, when the last time she had to, hey, God, right, let's come back in the lane.
Probably a few days ago. So with me matriculating at the illustrious Tuskegee University, being a strategic communications major, there's a lot of debates in my class, right? And in my classes and a lot of my courses and things of that nature. And we critically analyze the media. We critically analyze society, right? And then my professors, and all of them are doctors, typically when you're in a college setting, what they do is they challenge us. You feel how you feel, or your thought process is the thought process, right? And that ties into how you was raised, the things that you're around and things of that nature. Support it without emotion. Support it. Objectively speak. And so I'll have a lot of conversations, because my mom, we talk about everything, right? From politics or to literally everything. And then I'll express some of my views, and some of my views are a tad bit controversial. They are a tad bit controversial. And she's like, well, look at it this way. Look at it that way. All right. And I'll objectively speak. And then she see you at that level. Like, okay, cool. You're matriculating at an Ivy League HBCU. Don't think you're smarter. Don't think you're smarter. I can objectively speak too. Okay. All right. So definitely just keeping me humble.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Was your mom, did she go to college too?
She did. Benedict College, Columbia, South Carolina. Okay. Yes, sir.
So, if I know, that's a HBCU too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did your father, he got a degree as well?
Yes, sir. He has a degree in criminal justice. I'm not sure I can't recall what university he went to, but he definitely has a degree in criminal justice.
And hold on, man. Hold on, Mr. Myles, Mr. White. Mom and dad, college educated, got degrees, brother 6 years older, he in college. And you still with the mind state like this is a gimmick.
Right. Right. So I feel that way, and I can say this, right? If I want to purchase a flight ticket, ain't no reason this flight ticket should be $800. Do I still need to get to where I need to go?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I don't want to sound as if I'm coming off as a hypocrite or anything of that nature. We can acknowledge something is a scam and still partake because of the necessities of it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And you did say earlier, depending on the job.
Absolutely.
Because there are some jobs that you can go to a trade school and you be just fine.
Exactly.
And everything, and then a lot of times, like you said, it requires the needed experience.
Absolutely.
And everything like that. Okay.
Yes,
so mentors, everything like that, they getting you on the right track. Your dad, kind of pushing you along, nurturing you as well, kind of giving you some advice on how to do what to do. You said that at the beginning it was going to be a 20-year thing for you.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you also said that being where you are now as far as a pilot, that really didn't happen until a few years ago.
Yes, sir. Correct.
So prior to that, you were just going to do all your 20 as an AO?
Yes, sir. I was gonna stick with Ordnance. AD, the rate AD did strike my mind. Specifically working with the aircraft engine, because like I mentioned previously, just working with your hands, troubleshooting. That was definitely my speed. And my thought process behind that was possibly transitioning into AD. Was how it translates to the civilian world. I had to think about how well does Ordnance translate to the civilian world as opposed to other rates. Right, so there's multiple places that you can work with being an AO outside of the military. Right, you got Raytheon, you got Lockheed Martin, you got Boeing. There's multi-million-dollar corporations that you could apply for, and then very well, rightfully so, get the job there if you qualify for it. Being other rate outside of the AO, it just translates a little better.
Okay,
just more options and opportunity.
So that first year in the military, I'm assuming from the conversation we're having right now, you came in with a little bit of structure, knowing right from wrong and everything like that. So with that being said, before I was asking how difficult was it, but it kind of don't seem like it was too difficult for you at all.
Not gonna say it was easy. I'm not gonna say it was easy because I definitely faced a good amount of adversity within my career. Right. Mm-hmm. It was at one point I made a mistake that was very detrimental, and I was almost looking at possibly being taken out of the military.
What happened?
So it was a situation. It was an incident that happened. A friend of mine, he left his weapon in my vehicle, and just so happened the next day, and this was from a night before. The next day, I got pulled over. So a lot of things transpired from that, but luckily I was able to make my way through that. Charges were acquitted once we did a thorough investigation. And when I say that charges were acquitted once we conducted a thorough investigation, I didn't tell on nobody, right? I accepted it for what it was, and I expressed it for what it was, right? I didn't. It was no need to tell on nobody or play hot potato with the blame and the legal situations and things of that nature. But I was definitely facing possibly being kicked out of the military. So this path wasn't easy, and that adversity, being, a model sailor, as you would say, right? And then having to come back to the command, because, word spreads like wildfire on the ship, right? Especially on the amphibious assault ship, right? It's a mini aircraft carrier, right? And then everybody kind of looking at me with their head to the side. Like, this is what you portray to us, but this is what's happening outside of work. So now we looking at you a little funny. And then with that being said, right, a lot of people didn't want to associate themselves with me anymore. And that's where I learned true friendship. I know I learned who had my back through thick and thin at that moment. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's what you learned, but how did you feel?
How did it feel? I felt devastated. That was probably almost one of the lowest points in my life. Because now, to everybody else, like, this kid is a fraud. He does great things here, but outside of work, he's not really living this. He emulates it in front of us, but this is not how he's living. And then I didn't really feel the need to explain myself. At times I wanted to, so people can get the full picture and right, kind of save face a little bit. But I expressed myself in confidence to the people that actually needed to know what was going on, especially the people that put me to the side, like, hey, this isn't you. What's the full story? And then I happily gave it to them. But I learned a lot about my peers and about specific supervisors and superiors, the character. Yes, sir. So you may mention, like, you ain't telling nobody or nothing like that, right. But just with the rubber ball and the glass, right? This is something that's shattering. So why did you feel the need to kind of have that mentality about it? Like, I'm not telling on nobody. Like, at the end of the day, if the weapon wasn't yours, it just wasn't yours. Right, absolutely. So just having that set of, at the time, this is what I believe, having that set of morals, right? It was like, I was the one that was caught with it, so this is what it is, although it's not my weapon, right? So it's just, and I would say with that came a level of stubbornness that came with that, that I shouldn't have had, right? Because just tell your truth, tell your story, and then it'll all fall out. But I think I cared too much about the specific person whose weapon it was and their career almost more than mine. So I was being a little bit too sympathetic, because right now my life and my career is on the line, not theirs. And what was it about this particular person that made you care that much? So we went to boot camp together. We went to A school together, and this was like my very first friend in the Navy. So it was a lot of loyalty there. We faced a lot of adversity together. So now that was a defining moment in our friendship, for sure. And what happened to the friendship after that? We still talk to this day. Because once it all cleared up, it was a tough situation. We was both young. I think I was 20 at the time. And it was like, how are we gonna handle this? I'm like, how are we gonna handle this? How are we gonna handle this? And so we had a lot of conversations in between the two, between him and I, a lot of in confidence, and we was able to come up with a plan on how we were going to handle it the correct way and go about it the correct way. I mean, because I'm sitting there listening, and the only way I could see it being planned is, hey, man, I'm going to just go tell them this was my gun,
and that'd be the end of that.
And that's pretty much how it happened. That is exactly how it happened.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
It wasn't, for the record, it wasn't stolen or anything. It was registered. Everything was on the up and up.
Was this the first time in your career or since you've been on board that kind of was the black eye for you?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, 100%. That was the first black eye, and this was a hefty black eye.
Yeah, that's a different one.
And in my brain, I'm scrambling like every day as I'm walking through the P-ways. I hear people whispering, it's mess decks talk, scuttlebutt talk. I got people coming up to me like, that's how you get down. That's how you operate. I just had to keep it pushing, keep my head down. So something that really kept me afloat, I had a strong mentor, actually, Master Chief Didell. She pulled me into the office. She's Master Chief now. She was a senior chief at the time. She pulled me into the office. She's like, hey, you keep your head up. Tough times don't last always. You keep your head up. You keep doing what you're doing, and everything will work itself out. And that's exactly what I did. I went even harder on the qualifications, right? Because now I got something to prove. Now I got a chip on my shoulder. Because this is what you think of me. You think I'm a fraud? Okay. Well, as a fraud in the face of adversity, does a fraud do this? Does a fraud do that? Does a fraud still maintain or go that following September make second class? Does a fraud do that? Does a fraud do that through all of that adversity? Right? And it's just a rhetorical question. It doesn't have to be answered because I answered all the doubt with my actions.
And what did your mom and dad say about it?
So my mom, she definitely she just kept me in prayers because she knew that it's not that much that she could do about it. It's so right now I'm in the real world now, ma. It's not that much that you can do about it except assist with lawyer fees, and that's exactly what she did.
But you had to have lawyer fees and all that stuff like that. This was on base.
It was on base, but however, there was a double jeopardy thing going on. There was a double jeopardy, so it definitely went to the courts outside of base.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I ain't going to speak on that, touch on that, or anything like that.
Sir.
But how long did this process drag out?
Months. This process took ultimately, I want to say about four and a half months. 4.5 months. Yes, sir. And then we were in a workup cycle. We were in a workup cycle at the same time. So that was rough, having to reschedule court appearances and court hearings and things of that nature. But it drug out about 4.5, maybe 5 months, and then we were finally able to get it cleared.
So how was you able to function?
So just I'll function purely based off of, hey, this is operating in reality, all right? I wasn't too optimistic about the situation. I wasn't too pessimistic about the situation. So I operated in the middle. I was realistic. This is what it is, right? Let's look forward to what it possibly could be, but we also have to simultaneously acknowledge what it could be, what could end up happening. But so what I did was I took it one day at a time. How can I be better today than I was yesterday?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So during your enlisted time frame, did you take any college classes or anything like that?
I took one course. I took a course on Sophia.org, a chemistry course. That was pretty much it. The rest of mine was a professional military education. The courses, of course, that was mandatory for the exam. But there was also PME courses on My Navy e-learning, and that was something that I did just to make myself further competitive because those were optional. There's the PMK-EE for the what we call it now, the Navy-wide advancement exam, or the rate knowledge exam, and there were other courses that weren't mandatory, and so I would put that on my brag sheet and it would just increase my level of competitiveness.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. So that was pretty much the only reason why you was taking them, just to be competitive.
I was learning from them. But the primary reason was to make myself more competitive, right? Because I felt this displays that I'm willing to take the time out of my day to continue to develop myself on a professional level. But there is definitely things that I learned and I took from the course. Yes, sir.
Okay. I got you. It's something I wanna read to you.
Yes, sir.
He always had goals, life crazy, mature goals. But he is the type of sailor that even though you're thinking like, whoa, good goals, but it's all talk, I just know he was going to do whatever he set his mind to. He wasn't easily influenced and didn't follow trends. Definitely one of my favorite sailors for sure. How do you feel?
That's that's definitely warm words. And I appreciate it. Flattered, humbled, and I did something right. I can say that I did something right. That's telling me that reassures me that I'm doing something right.
You want to know
Who is it?
who you mentioned earlier?
Master Chief Dowdell.
Absolutely.
She's definitely been a pillar, also a pillar in my naval career. Right. Her style of leadership, I've never came across it. I've never came across anything like it, right? And when I tell you a true leader, and she introduced to me intrusive leadership, because I always carried in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, with my leadership style, here, right, I'm gonna make sure everything is taken care of here, and I'm not gonna get too much in the sailors' personal lives, right? But she introduced to me the fact that, hey, sometimes you need to go subsurface. Right? Like they say, it's a common phrase, is leadership, not likership. You're here for the betterment of yourself and the people that are around you. And then when we have the betterment of the people, we complete the mission. Without the people, or if your people not right, we can't efficiently, professionally complete the mission. So she definitely taught me, take care of your people. Take care of your people. And sometimes taking care of your people is picking them apart, peeling the layers back, and then putting them back together. They not gonna like it at the time, but that's the nature of the beast.
You're first class now, but during this time frame, again, you AO3, AO2 type. So,
Yes, sir.
People can be like, what kind of leadership he talking about?
Right. So I would say leadership is it's at almost every pay grade. You can be a leader at any pay grade. And sometimes being a leader is not telling other people what to do. Sometimes it's just doing the right thing. It's just doing the right thing. Like I can give you a prime example, right? And this is something that I adapted later on, but I definitely pay it forward. And I can sit here and say without mental reservation that I got it from somebody else, right? I didn't reinvent the wheel. Sometimes if we had spare time in the shop before muster or after, a long day we on duty, I just start shining my boots. I pull out the boot kit, start brushing off my boots and shining my boots. And then I would see other people start shining their boots. I didn't say a thing. It was just a simple action. But once I started to see others follow suit, right? That's leadership. That's the example.
I tell people all the time, you can lead horizontal, vertical, any kind of way. Below you, it doesn't matter. But for junior sailors, once your leadership start kind of asking your input on certain things, that's a form of leading, basically.
Yes, sir.
That is a form. Like, hey, they think enough of you to value your input.
Yes, sir.
Especially when they don't need it. They don't need it, but they requesting it. They asking, what do you think about this?
Right.
That's training, and you've influenced them to a certain degree.
Yes, sir.
To where it's just like, okay, I know he or she ain't gonna tell me no bullshit, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, let me kind of pick their brain. And at the same time, they teaching you how to think, because they listening to your answer.
Right.
And if your answer ain't, well thought out,
right,
or in line a certain kind of way, then that's when the mentorship gonna start kicking in. Like, hey, did you think about it this way? Did you think about it that way?
Absolutely.
That's a form of leadership and everything too. So she mentioned in this message goals. How do you go about setting goals?
So my first thing, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. And you actually have to believe it yourself to actually achieve it. Now, believing it, right, and executing is two different things. Right. I just want to make that abundantly clear, right?
You gotta be realistic.
Exactly. Being realistic, but actually being willing to put in the work after something that you claim that you want, right? And not to make it about me or anything, but it was one point in time where being a pilot, right, or training to being a student pilot at the time, right. I always say I'm a student pilot even after becoming qualified, because you in aviation you never stop studying and you never stop learning, right. Each flight you always trying to, okay, next flight I could do this. I could stay ahead of the aircraft this way. I could have thought this out better, right? But it was at one point during my training, when I was still student pilot status at the time, the rubber met the road. I'm like, is this something that I really want? This never studied this much in my life. Never studied that much in my life. And then I thought about it. I'm like, if I can believe it, I can achieve it. Some things you just got to see it through. The only way through it, and this is a lot of my good friends at Tuskegee in my inner circle, we say this all the time, especially in the gym. The only way through it is through it. It ain't around it. It ain't above it. It ain't under it. It's directly through it.
So when was the last time you questioned could you go through it?
The last time I questioned could I go through it was I would say fall semester 2025, working towards my instrument rating. At Tuskegee University, there was a lot of, due to the program being so new, aviation science, because it just got back to Tuskegee University, and there were some issues with GI Bill and VA, and I'm like, how am I going to pay for this? So that first semester at Tuskegee, I actually did have to pay it roughly. My tuition, I remember it being about $18,958 or so. I luckily enough, Pell Grant and a few scholarships, I was able to knock it down to about $12,000. But just definitely carrying that burden, and then also trying to learn or work on my instrument rating, it definitely tested me. It definitely tested me, and unfortunately, I couldn't beat the clock. So I am not an instrument rated pilot yet, but I am still sought after my instrument rating. It's just, this path is just a little bit longer, but it's okay. That's right.
So you bringing a pilot on, hurry up and get to that point.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you may mention about tuition and things like that or whatever, but
yes, sir.
You got picked up OCS, right?
So for specifically the NROTC program at Tuskegee University. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So when you take the NROTC route, that kind of it alleviates OCS.
Okay.
Unless you're a Marine option. Marine options still have to they go through a 6-week OCS. Okay. Before they commission. Yes, sir.
Okay. So in JROTC, you got out of the Navy then.
So no. So this is actually how my path is very unique, and I feel as if it's suitable for me. So I am a college programmer in ROTC. So when you're a college programmer, you're not contracted. So on the reserve side, I'm still enlisted. I'm still an AO1 on the reserve side, and I'm only able to do that because I'm not under scholarship. I am not contracted. That's the only way that I'm able to do that. Any other way, if I accepted a scholarship from NROTC, I would immediately have to do conditional release from the Navy Reserves, the SEAL Red side of the Navy, and then I would have to just be a full-time midshipman. Yes, sir.
So how did you go from active duty Navy to reserve?
So I re-enlisted because there was never a contract. Once you accept a scholarship from NROTC, that's when it becomes contractual. Until that point, or before that point, I never accepted a contract. So you can partake and you can participate because my contract is with Select Reserve side of the Navy. It's not with NROTC.
How'd you find out about this?
Research. And this, I would say, I wanted to make it work for me because I openly say it. Now that I'm a little bit closer to it, if I'm fortunate enough to be selected, I am more than willing to be a part of the chief mess.
So you're in the reserve.
So SEAL Res, 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks active duty out of the year. Okay. And yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, this is unique.
Yes, sir.
So you re-enlisted.
Correct.
You're only required to do like the equivalent of the National Guard type of thing.
Correct.
The 2 active duty weeks a year.
Correct.
And then every month, and you keep your rank and all that type of stuff like that.
Correct.
And you still take advancement exams and everything.
Correct.
And you went and enrolled in college in ROTC while you was in college.
Correct.
Yeah, I had to say all that slow.
I'll get. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot because I had to conduct a lot of research on it before I committed to it. Because if I am fortunate enough to be a part of the Chiefs mess, being a Navy chief is something that it was always in the back of my mind. Always in the back of my mind. Although I do want to serve in a different capacity as far as the aviation realm, more so being in command of a specific aircraft. Being a chief mess has always been on the back of my mind. Some of my greatest mentors in the Navy are chiefs.
Okay.
So I never neglect the chiefs mess.
So right now, as far as Tuskegee go, what class are you?
So as far as Tuskegee, I'm a sophomore now. Now. Yes, sir.
Okay, you're a sophomore, first class. So, I mean, you still got a few years
Yes, sir.
left,
Yes, sir.
to try to put that anchor on before you graduate.
Yes, sir.
Because you're not even talking officer until you graduate.
Until I graduate. Yes, sir.
Do you feel like you on the clock?
I do feel, to an extent, yes. To an extent, yes. But we still gonna sought after it. It's not gonna change the motivation. It's not gonna change the grind. And like I mentioned previously, if I am, I'm still gonna work towards it. If I'm fortunate enough to be selected to enter the mess, I'll enter it with great pride and do my due diligence and do everything that I can. But ultimately, there's still another goal to be sought after after doing that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, that 23-24 deployment
Yes, sir.
is when you kind of took upon that goal or that dream to be a pilot.
Yes, sir.
Because you see not enough pilots that look like you.
Absolutely.
In that capacity.
Yes,
That
sir.
is a big feat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it was just that deployment. What did that officer, what his name was, Brian?
Captain Jamil Butler.
Butler, okay.
United States Marine Corps. So I would say that deployment solidified it. It was in the back of my mind. And I just felt as if it was far-fetched. It's almost as if I'm like, I don't know. I conducted very much thorough research on it, but I just felt this was probably the largest leap of my life. Yeah. Because I'm a first generation pilot. I'm the first pilot ever in my family, in my lineage, right? So I just
one I know.
Yes, sir. So I just felt as if it was such a big leap, and then I met Captain Jamil Butler, and he pretty much reinforced and further nurtured the thought process, like, hey, this is possible, because a lot of people don't know this about him, but he was actually prior enlisted in the Navy. In the Navy, he was prior enlisted in the Navy, and then he crossed over to green side and became an aviator.
So because I thought Mr. Butler was the one who actually kind of planted the seed, but the seed was kind of already there. He just watered it.
Absolutely, 100%.
And
100%.
that seed came from just you, just being on the flight deck, just observing,
Yes,
observing that, hey, it's a lot of pilots coming in off this flight deck, but I don't see many that look like me.
Correct.
Until you saw Mr. Butler.
Until I met, yes, sir, Captain Butler.
And he told you can do it.
He told me I can do it. He walked me through a specific set of steps that he went through. He told me he also told me about diversity, the adversity side to it, right? You can do anything that you want in this world, and this is just the nature of the beast. You're still black, right? And this is just the type of society that we live in, right? As much as we try to claim that it's a meritocracy society, right? Everything is based off merit. It's not exactly the case. And statistics and critically analyzing, right, DEI, affirmative action, and things of that nature, it'll show you that it's not entirely the case.
So speaking of DUI and being a university that you at, Tuskegee Airmen, a lot of training, they've been taken away from that, right? What that made you feel like?
So I remember this happened a while back. The curriculum about the history of the Tuskegee Airmen was taken out of the Air Force curriculum, and then it was brought back. It was brought back almost, I want to say, not exactly sure, don't quote me, about maybe a month later, because it was such an uproar, right? You can't erase history.
Right.
And anybody who tries to erase history is wrong. It's wrong. It's point blank period. And I feel very adamant about that. But specifically with the Tuskegee Airmen, a great group of very advanced, African Americans, and the things that they did were substantial, especially during World War II, the adversity that they faced, having older aircrafts and still expected to do, complete the mission with efficiency, right? And so that's just a testimonial to the skill set that they possessed, the skill set and the determination that they had.
Going to Tuskegee and what you're trying to do, be a pilot, was that intentional?
Absolutely. It was very well thought out. To sought after the higher rating that I'm sought after, or the higher qualification, why not Tuskegee? Why not Tuskegee? Hampton University has a flight program, flight education. Elizabeth City State has a flight education, right? University of Maryland Eastern Shore has a flight program. Auburn University has a flight program. Tuskegee felt like home. When I visited before I actually enrolled. It felt like home. It felt like I was in the right place.
But let me be more specific, right? Because we're talking about pilots and history, Black. Tuskegee Airmen.
Right.
Did that play a part in that decision?
100%. Just filling the shoes. And those are some large shoes to fill. Just filling the shoes and being able to train, right, where the first notorious group of Black pilots trained at, and just being at Moulton Field Municipal Airport, training at the same airport, that's something that you can't beat. As far as historical wise, as far as being a minority, right, within the aviation community, within the aviation realm, being able to train where Black military pilots train, can't beat that.
Now, knowing that's where they train, when things get a little challenging, do you reflect on the journey that they had to go through?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the adversity that we faced, right, currently pales to the adversity that they faced. So I can't, every time I think about it, I can't legitimately complain. Can't.
What did your mom and dad say about you wanting to be a pilot?
They supported it. Mom, she was a little scared. You want to fly planes? All of a sudden? Or being in the air? Why? She's why? But ultimately, once I broke it down to her and she figured out, it was no change in my mind, she supported.
So did they know about it before you spoke to Mr. Butler?
So I hinted at it, but I never really said it. I hinted at it. I really take an interest in, I think aviation is real interesting. And they like, well, you got an aviation job, you got an aviation career in the Navy, so we would hope it's interesting to you. But I think that's when I really got bold with it post deployment. I think we got back March 21st of 2024, and that's when I got bold with it. By July timeframe, I was enrolled in flight school, Rick Aviation, Hampton Roads. Yes, sir.
Yeah, friends telling you crazy?
There was some naysayers in there. Like, you really gonna go through with this? You really gonna follow through with it? And then there was a lot of supporters, right? Just like I can acknowledge the naysayers, I'll definitely be quick to acknowledge the supporters. Like, hey, man, you can do it. If this is really what you want to accomplish, go for it. I had some even say this, why are we talking about it? Why you ain't said it? Enough said.
More naysayers or more supporters?
I would say definitely more naysayers.
How that made you feel? Because you are an accomplished person, like you said before, when you got in your trouble.
Right.
Oh, okay. That's what you think? Got it.
Bet.
Take names.
Bet.
So being that you move how you move, for them to be like, okay.
Yeah.
What kind of feeling did that bring?
It brought a similar feeling. Like, okay, you don't think it's possible for me to go out and accomplish something of this statute, accomplish something of this a notable act such as this, is becoming an aviator? Okay, noted. And when times got difficult, I would often reflect on things of that nature, and those type of conversations, and along a multitude of other thoughts, and that's kind of what kept me pushing.
What was the other thoughts?
The other thoughts was pretty much alongside the naysayers and is this an inner doubt? Inner doubt. Because doubt, I'd be lying if I didn't say doubt crept in, especially when the rubber meets the road. That's you got to look yourself in the mirror. You have to look yourself in the mirror. And that's exactly what I did. And I said, this is something that I'm sought after, and the only way through it is through it.
Let me ask you this, because
Yes,
we
sir.
all have that inner doubt, right? And sometimes that inner doubt can be stronger than the outer doubt.
100%.
And then at times, it's people that feed off the outer doubt.
Right.
Like that is the fuel.
Right.
Like that is everything. It's almost like an athlete. Like they get pumped up off the booze.
Right.
Which one are you? Which one fuels you more, the inner or the outer?
Which fuels me more? I would probably say definitely the outer doubt. The outer doubt. Because the inner doubt, it would come and go. It would come and go. The outer doubt, it stuck with me a little bit more. It stuck with me a little bit more because it hurt a little bit more. Like you don't think I'm capable of accomplishing this, right? And not everything that I do is for others. It's not for others, but this. I was very vocal with it, right? And I spoke a lot about it. So that's just what came with it. So the doubt, the naysayers, especially within people that I consider, close associates or even friends, right? I'm like, okay. No,
People that you thought would support it.
exactly. I'm like, okay. Noted. Noted.
They like to say a lot of times that certain things we need to keep to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Don't share. Right? Don't express your goals, your dreams, things like that.
Okay.
Because people shatter them. Do you feel that way?
About what I'm trying to accomplish, I don't mind being vocal with it. I don't mind being vocal with it. Now, sometimes I'll be strategically vocal. Only a select few personnel will know what I'm up to and what I'm trying to accomplish. But that was more so, and that's a little bit more so on the professional side, right? But on a personal side, I'm pretty much I'm open. I'll speak about a lot of things, and I know what journey I'm embarking on, and I'm okay with speaking about it because just like I can show you my accomplishments, I'm not going to hide my failures. Because I think people often think, especially once I got qualified, like, oh, you're a pilot, man. Like, you really fly these planes, right? And I'm grateful. But I also say, I've had failed stage checks, right? There was a lot of failures. There was a lot of associated risks that came alongside, and I don't hide that. If you talk to me, I will tell you what I failed and what I excelled in, and then people that would like to trailblaze a similar path. Hey, maybe do this instead of that. Just little tips and gems that I would pass along, but it's all good.
First time you got in the air by yourself, what was that like?
First solo, liberating, absolutely liberating. My instructor at the time over at Rick Aviation, I think he did an exquisite job, an immaculate job with preparing me. It would get to the point where we get in the aircraft, he wouldn't even talk. Because solo flights, there are multiple solo flights are part of the private pilot curriculum on a part, even for part 141 and part 61, which is two different curriculums for becoming a private pilot. But there are multiple solo flights. You got a solo cross country, you got a solo flight where you just in the pattern. But to answer your question, liberating. I felt in control and I felt accomplished. That just added the fire, the internal desire was already there, right? That just threw gasoline on it. I'm like, I can really be PIC, pilot in command. I can command and manipulate this aircraft to do exactly what I wanted to do in a safe manner, efficient manner, professional manner.
Well, what's it like up there?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Even flying over, right? When I was flying in Tuskegee, right? Tuskegee is it's a little bit of a rural area, right?
I'm from Montgomery, so I'm
yes,
familiar with
so a lot of times we be flying over just the plains, right? Like literally just big patches of grass. It's still liberating. I love being in the air. I love how it feels. I love aviation is poetry to me. I look at it as poetry in a sense with the movement of an aircraft, right? Vertical axis, horizontal axis, and I'm kind of getting into the technical aspect of it. But how an aircraft moves from the yaw, right? The rudder, up and down, things of that nature. it's poetry to me. So I love it.
Like most, this is what's shocking to hear it from you directly. You know, most pilots and things like that, this is something that they dreamed about for years since they was little.
Right.
You know, hey, my first plane ride, and that made me want to be a pilot, and this, that, and the third. But for you, this was literally something that came about in what, like 22, 23, maybe 24, and here we are, 2026, and it's a real thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you stop sometime and just look back and like, man, I done came a long way from just this thought, the naysayers, and now I'm up in the sky here by myself.
I'll be completely honest with you. I need to do a better job at sometimes stopping and smelling the roses. I should definitely do it a little bit more, just stopping and enjoying it. But it's when I fly, I'm on to the, okay, cool, I just did this solo flight. Okay, what's my next solo flight gonna be? My mind is always moving forward. My mind is always moving. And then often I bring up my mom again, and she's like, hey, slow down, smell the roses. You don't have to take a long break, but just take a break, take a second, see how far you came, reflect a little bit. You'll appreciate the journey that much more. And that's something that I'm actively working on, and I need to be doing a better job at. So
why do you think you don't got time? Do you, again, is it a internal clock that you going up against, or you got these goals? I mean, why you just can't do that?
So it's difficult for me to do it. I'm capable of doing it. It's difficult for me to do it because I'm just always focused on the next thing. I'm always I pride myself in trying to be 2 to 3 steps ahead. It's worked thus far. It's very strategic, but at times it's like you're still human. Stop and enjoy the flowers. Enjoy. The beauty is not always in the destination. The beauty is in the path, right? Enjoy the path.
As it pertains to goals and things like that, you set the bar pretty high. Why do you, or I don't want to say why, how do you go about setting your goals?
How do I go about setting my goals, right? So, mantra, if you can believe it, you can achieve it.
You said that before.
All right. Now, let's figure out how to execute this goal, right? We set a reasonable time, right? So, and then a lot of these goals cost money. Okay, so like, what is the funds like in order to reach this goal? And so I sit down, and then it gets a little bit strategic. And I'll be the first one to say, if I need assistance, right? It was a lot of times with my flight lessons where I needed assistance, and I reached out to my mom, and then she definitely invested in me, right? So definitely having that support group, but I also, with my support group, like I mentioned, they hold me accountable. All right. So how are we going to execute this within this time frame?
So I hear your answer to the question, but I'm speaking more so from the standpoint of what the goal finna be. Because at the end of the day,
okay,
again, I seen you as a junior sailor.
Yes, sir.
Right? Yeah, my goal is to be 3rd class, make 2nd class, sail of the quarter, all this stuff like that or whatever. That's a goal. That's more attainable than I want to be a pilot. And then a few years later, you got your TikTok videos and your Instagram videos that I thoroughly enjoy watching, but it's just thank you. I cannot believe this.
Yes, sir.
And I would just only assume,
yes, sir,
after making something like this a goal, right, and attaining it,
yes, sir,
like I said at the beginning, the sky, I would really assume moving forward, like your mind state is really like the sky is the limit.
Yes, sir.
Like, matter of fact, there ain't no limit. I was able to do this.
Right. So figuring out something that I like, right? Just seeing something and just trying to conquer it, right? Not necessarily objectifying it, but conquering it into where I can contribute at a mass level in this professionally and efficiently.
So for you, it's just more so like, hey, whatever goal it is, I'm trying to do it to the max.
Yes, sir.
Time 10.
Yes, sir.
Top tier of it, whatever it is.
Yes, sir.
Now, you in ROTC
Correct.
in college.
Correct.
You want to be a chief.
Correct.
You a pilot.
Correct.
You gonna fly in the Navy?
That is the goal. Yes, sir.
A particular type of aircraft?
So honestly, the goal is to fly for the Navy. Whatever the Navy best sees me in, that's what we get. Whether that's a P8, whether that's a F-18, F-35, MH-60 Sierra, MH-60 Romeo, whatever the case may be, right? Whatever the Navy sees me best, as long as I'm flying, I'm good.
So how do you get there from right now?
So
Sophomore in college, how do you get to?
So the necessary steps is to graduate college and take in the ASTV, so the Aviation Selection Test Battery Examination. So that is the premier exam, the premier aviation exam for naval aviation. When I say naval aviation, that also encompasses Marine Corps too. Mm-hmm. So doing well on that, studying for it, and then performing well, because for this specific examination, right, you only get 3 chances in your lifetime to take it. Mm. So if you strike out 3 times, aviation is pretty much out of the question.
So what about those who say, man, why you even run about this military thing? You really is lined up to be a commercial pilot. Like, I would assume like that is a no-brainer. Yes, if sir. You really wanted to. Like you said, you ain't on no scholarship.
Correct.
You know, it's more so like, I'm in the reserve. I enrolled in college.
Yes, sir.
You already talked about your GI Bill and everything like that, so you paying for it out of pocket yourself. You decided not to take a scholarship and everything like that. So really, you're not bound by contract to come in as an officer. You know, most of the time, hey, you owe us 6 years because we paid for your college. You ain't in that situation at all, period.
Correct.
So to the people that say, man, why don't you just go be a pilot?
To that specifically, there's a lot of unfinished business with the Navy. It's one thing to fly aircraft, right? Mm-hmm. It's another thing to tactically employ this aircraft professionally, safely, and efficiently when lives are at stake. So I'm definitely trying to, and I believe that naval aviation, this is my personal opinion, mm-hmm. Naval aviation is the pinnacle of all aviation. Whether you landing a tilt rotary wing aircraft, or fixed wing aircraft on a moving ship, that says a lot about your skills as an aviator.
So that's one of your goals.
Yes, absolutely. Because naval, and this is just and I really believe that my opinion is almost very close to factual on this. The most elite aviators no other aviators are doing this. They're not landing an aircraft on a moving vessel that is a fraction of the runway or a fraction of the space, right, that they have on land. So it's very difficult to express how these other aviators are doing anything to the same statute that we're doing it over in the Navy and the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
What would 17-year-old Myles White say to the Myles White sitting here right now if he knew that, hey, you want to be a pilot? Man, no, I'm not going to say 17, because 17, you were signing contracts. That's when you got focused.
Yes,
14-year-old.
14?
That's when you was wilding out.
Yes, sir. 14-year-old, he would probably say he wouldn't believe it. He wouldn't believe it. Knowing me, and as stubborn I was, like, nah, show me the plan. That's what 14-year-old me would say. But if I was able to, actually show 14-year-old myself this, like, he'd probably be like, lost for words. Because and truthfully speaking, I don't think 14-year-old me would even be able to fathom doing something at this statute. My mind wasn't there yet.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you think about Tuskegee Airmen and what they had to go through when things become challenging,
right,
or hard for you. taking out, going through the process of getting your pilot license and things like that.
Correct.
What was another challenging time for you that you really, really had to kind of sit down and, like you said, the only way to go through it is to go through it, but this particular situation has you like, I don't know if I can go through it.
Another challenging time was when I decided to depart from active duty. And of course, I was a first class. I still am a first class, but I recently made first, and my leadership kept asking, what's the plan? What's the plan? You made first class in almost like roughly 4.5 years. So what are we doing now? We need to start. Are you interested in making chief? Are you interested LDO, right? State 21. You're doing something substantial. We need to continue to cultivate you in the right direction. And I'm very grateful for it. And when I told him, my intentions, some faces kind of went sour a little bit, like, what? ROTC, what? Wow. It's almost as if they didn't understand it. And a lot of them, they did not understand it. Like, why that route out of, these other traditional routes that you could take. And so that was, to answer your question, that was a very difficult time for me because I felt very misunderstood. I felt every time that although I was able to speak intelligently to my plan and it was very well thought out and it was very in depth, nobody understood it, or very few even tried to understand it. A lot of people, this is how I perceived it. Like, you have a massive diamond in your hands and you don't know what to do with it. That's how I perceived it when I would get a lot of feedback, and I was still grateful for the feedback, period. But that's how I perceived it.
And because even sitting here and you explaining it to me, it's like I think I kind of understand it, but prior to that, again, like I've misspoken a couple of times, and I thought it was like OCS, you just got picked up for the officer school and things like that. But like you said, this is kind of unique. You just re-enlisted in the reserves,
Correct.
Doing the reserve thing, and just enrolled in college like any normal person.
Correct.
And then enrolled in the ROTC program at Tuskegee.
Correct.
And just pursuing the pilot thing.
Absolutely.
Your vocabulary. That was one of the things, even when I was active duty on board ship, I was popping up to you, and it was just like, the way you speak, you sound like little T.I. So, like, where does vocabulary come from?
The vocabulary came from it was at one point in time. My mom and I we would watch Good Times. We would watch all the old school shows together, and she always expressed, you need to, when you enter a room, you need to know how to articulate. You need to effectively be able to get your point across without utilizing language, right? Because cursing like a sailor, and I would say, so it was one episode of Good Times, and it was James, James, the father, Pops, and he was talking about, he had to write something on a resume, and he couldn't think of the words. He couldn't think of how to effectively put the words together to get his point across. So he went to his kids, JJ, Michael, Thelma, and then that's what he emphasized, education. And at that moment, and my mom, she really didn't even need to say anything to me. At that moment, like, and it was via a TV show, I'm like, wow. Like, I should really look into this, right? And then the first thing I could say, T.I., he definitely influenced expeditiously, and the way that he crafted his sentences with such charisma, and he was still able to effectively get his point across. That definitely inspired me. But that was one of the defining moments. So that episode of Good Times, my mother just being able, she naturally speaks well, and then T.I. also was definitely an influence.
So your mom has a very massive vocabulary as well.
Absolutely, she does. She does not believe in cursing, and I go on camera and say this. Cursing can sometimes, you can resort to using foul language. Sometimes
it's just easy.
Exactly. It's just easier. But I always express to her, and I still stand by this as I continue to build and exercise my vocabulary. We use curse words to emphasize. There's never a lack of intellect, right? I can definitely articulate without using curse words, but I just use that to emphasize. Right. And I just want to go on camera and say that because she feels as if, if you got to curse to get your point across, like, do you have a vocabulary and things of that nature? So,
And sometimes it's the exclamation point.
exactly. Case in point, emphasization. So,
But that's just like with me. Like, again, 30 years in the Navy, I can count how many times on one hand I cursed around my mom.
right.
And it's, the light curse words. It's the very light ones. And so I get what you said. Like, when I get around my mom, I find another way to articulate myself without using such language. So I completely understand where your mom coming from. But I get it, So being that you are prior enlisted and you are in an officer program at Tuskegee, how much does being a enlisted sailor helps when it comes to courses or just being around those other ROTC students?
It helps a lot. It helps a lot because a lot of these things that we're talking about, right, I'm learning it at a in-depth educational level. Before I learned it at an in-depth educational level, I was living it. I just didn't understand the bigger picture at the time until I reached a certain pay grade where actually my input was a little bit a part of the bigger picture. But great. It's a great help. It's a great help. And then I'm able to provide, perspective, right? I try my best not to, step on too many toes and things of that nature. But sometimes I have to because it can be certain comments or regarding the enlisted a certain way. And I'm not going for that. I'm not going for that. Because at the end of the day, right, the chief's mess, the enlisted, we carry out the commander's intent. The commander's intent. To include the JOs, right, and the field grade officers, right? But the enlisted, we're the workhorse. We're the workhorse. So I can't let that.
So it definitely gave you a clear-cut advantage.
100%. 100%.
Okay, so I just got a couple more questions for you, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When pressure hits, what usually centers you?
When pressure hits, say that last part one time.
What usually centers you?
When pressure hit, what usually centers me? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, because some of the pressures that I've faced, they were much bigger than me, and I admit that with the utmost humility. All right, some of the problems that I came across, I couldn't do nothing but turn my back to God.
Okay, good answer. Good answer.
Yes, sir.
What type of people influence you the most?
What type of people that influence me the most? I would say the type of people that lead with humility, lead by example. Those are the type of people that influence me the most. Because it's easy to talk, right? Or do as I say, not as I do. But if I'm saying, go work out 5 a.m, and then I pull up to the gym and I actually see them at 5 a.m, halfway through that workout, okay, I gotta get to that level. I get excited. I get excited when I see people leading by example because they walking what they talking. And that's, what more could I ask for?
You one of those people, like, if you're not doing it, it don't mean the same.
Exactly.
Compared to someone that you see actually walking and how they talk.
Exactly. The potency of their words is their words are just far more potent when I see them actually going to execute what they're telling me to execute.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you process emotions internally or externally?
Great question. Immaculate question. Intern. Now I process a couple years ago, definitely externally, moving off of emotion, right? Instead of I'm not gonna say compartmentalizing your emotions is the correct way of going about things, but take that step back. And sometimes that looks like compartmentalizing, but it's actually just properly assessing and then try to move with logic so that I'm not jeopardizing anything. Yes, sir.
What role does music play in your mindset?
What role does music play in my mindset? So definitely endurance. Endure. Music definitely helps me endure. It helps me endure through long drives. It helps me endure 3-mile runs, right? It helps me endure through a tough time. So music, it helps. It definitely helps with the endurance, figuratively speaking.
Okay. Good pass. And let me get one more before we get out of here.
Is there?
What's something you consume regularly that keeps you sharp?
Something that I consume regularly that keeps me sharp. I would definitely have to say that's a exquisite question. Consume regularly that keeps me sharp. Wise counsel. I sought after wise counsel from military mentors to civilian mentors to mentors that are executives within their respective career. So wise counsel. I sought after wise counsel. I try my best to come with humility, come home, and then just try to learn. Wise counsel keeps me sharp. Where I am today, I wouldn't be here without wise counsel. So just trying to keep that wise counsel close. If they imparting wisdom into me, I'm keeping it close. Because like I previously mentioned, that just that unquenchable thirst for knowledge. Like, okay, how can I be better at this? And I'm cool with constructive criticism. I'm very much okay with constructive criticism because I know I'm able to successfully, and this took time. I'm successfully able to remove emotion. All right. And then I talk about critical analyzation. Sometimes I'm going to be the critical analyzation. I'm under the spotlight. And then I have many types of flaws, just like everybody else. I'm no different. I'm flawed, right? I sin the whole ordeal, right? But sought after that wise counsel keeps me sharp on a regular basis. I'm calling my mentors. I'm checking up on my mentors. I check on them. Are you good? I need to make sure you good so that we can maintain our relationship and I can continue to grow, right? But I put their well being before sometimes of my own, and I'm okay with that. That bothered me too much.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Well, I don't have no more questions for you or anything like that. I really, really appreciate you agreeing to sit down and have this conversation with me. Kind of getting to know you more than what I already do. The way you think, the way you maneuver. Like I said before, you have so many legendary moments ahead of you. It's been a while that I've seen someone in the fleet prior to my retirement that was as focused and really kind of set an impression on me. Right. I wish you nothing but success and everything that you're doing. I'm definitely watching, and I know you're going not to put any pressure on you or anything like that, but I just know that you're definitely going to cross that finish line on this goal that you have for yourself.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate the wise counsel. I appreciate the wisdom. And then I'm just humbled and honored. We got a master chief, reaching out like, hey, do you want to come and, speak on this? You didn't have to ask. You didn't have to ask. I'll be there. We can work it out. So I'm just beyond grateful to even have the opportunity to come and shed light on a few things within my life and the things that I'm trying to accomplish, in hopes that this inspires others or gives others hope, and just to shed light on aviation and the military as a whole.
All right.
Yes, sir.
I think you definitely accomplished that.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that's it for Legendary Moments. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.
Yo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, yeah, I like that one.